It's mid-April, and while half of the world has been racing again since 2 months, the road racing season finally kicks off in Sweden. I had an overall really good winter, adding even more volume to my training, more focused interval and gym sessions, as well as working on my nutrition. While I missed my weight loss goals for now, the legs and body felt really good by end of March, but then reality hits you again. The first 2 weeks of 2025 season were honestly tough. 3 races, 3 different challenges, and a lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's walk through it. First race, Escatalopet, which is a classic season opener in Sweden. 120 kilometers, rolling hills, and usually a lot of crosswinds. Last year it was so tough that even people got blown away into the fields. The field is usually pretty stacked, as everyone in the Nordic countries, including mountain bikers, used the opportunity to test their legs for the first time. It was a bit special this time, as I was solo parenting my son, packing the car for a trip to Germany right after the race, so racing was almost the least stressful part of the day. Fueling-wise, I stuck with my strategy from last season, which worked great, especially in road races. I had a small blood sugar spike right before the race, so I injected 5 units to get it down and also balance out potential spikes from the hard start that was expected. In terms of fuel, I brought a bottle with carbs, 1 with water, 3 gels and a protein bar, which used to be plenty in the past year for a 3-hour race.
Hey Nico. Kommt der Nico auch? Ja. Guck mal, da kommen noch 2. Und sagen, hey.
Junge åker så.
Ja. Papa auch gleich.
To see my blood sugar during the race, I need to have my phone in the back pocket, which transfers the data to my watch, but I really don't like having the big phone with me in a race. So I'm mostly going by feeling, as I left the phone in the car. Going into the race was pretty brutal right from the gun. Attacks were flying left and right. As you can see, teammate Alex already moves up to the front pretty quickly, and I try to do the same, but it takes me quite a bit longer and a bit more of an effort. We have more attacks going on as the crosswind section is about to come up very soon, and I'm hesitating a bit to make the leap, which ends up me getting shuffled a bit backwards, but still in a decent position at the front. While the lucky Motala guys are barely managing to stay up in the front, I try to take the wheel on the left side of the Mölndal rider who's coming, but we kinda get stuck by people who are starting to explode and going backwards. Even though I have pretty decent position on the right side, sheltered from the wind, my legs all of a sudden completely stopped working and I could not put down any more power. This was only 24 minutes into the race, with an average power of only 330 watts, something that is way below what I can actually do. You can see me trying to push over 400 watts from time to time and hang onto someone's wheel, but it's just impossible and my power instantly dropped. And I can see that the drop happened pretty much after an hour. Adding the delay of the sensor, it was probably around 45 minutes into the race that the blood sugar was dropping quite low, which aligns with having no power when we started to hit the crosswind section. I ended up all the way in the back, eventually losing contact to the front group. Even with more riders coming from behind, it was impossible for me that day to stay with anyone. I ended up chasing the convoy and even struggled behind the team car, as you can see. For a little while we got this chase group together and worked pretty well, but it was also doing a tailwind section. By that time I can actually feel my blood sugar dropping way after what my data shows, which is usually not the case because I can rather feel it dropping before I actually can see it on the sensor. I basically consumed all my carbs within the next 30 minutes without any luck. The power never came back, and as you can also see from the graph, the blood sugar never really went properly up and always started to drip down quite fast again. And you can see how easily I lose the group here in that slow corner. And yeah, that was basically the end of my race. I ended up riding solo for the next 1.5 hours just to finish the race. In the end, I think it was a mix of bad blood sugar levels, also not having the best legs and not being used to the race pace anymore, and maybe also not too focused on my mind that day. After the race, we packed up the car and drove straight to Germany, where I would spend Easter with my family. I used the time to train a lot and decided to jump into a local crit race, Großer Osterpreis von Ahrweiler, a flat 3-corner course in the middle of Germany's top wine regions. Sprint, break, sprint for 1.5 hours, it's not really my style of racing, and it's not something we were really used to in Sweden, so expectations were rather low, and I used it as a good training opportunity without taking too many risks. The start was less than ideal and I crashed into the back of the guy who did not manage to clip into his pedals. So I had to put up an effort to move up the bunch in the first lap. I used the gaps on the left and right to make up some good space, but the constant sprinting out of the corners took quite a toll on me really fast. After around 12 minutes I had to let go of the group and continued for another 20 minutes or so until I got lapped and abandoned the race. Yeah, the power numbers look pretty bad as well in this race, but it was rather expected as I'm currently not on the same level on and off races compared to what I can do in like a steady state. So still something I really have to work on, and shows how much my training has been focused on building a big base and neglecting a bit the anaerobic work. With race 3 coming up just 5 days later, which is one for the climbers, I was not filled with too much confidence at this point. After enjoying a few days in Germany, we arrived back in Stockholm after a long drive on Friday and had to head out early in the morning again to drive west towards Lidköping, where the next race would take place. Emptied the car, prepared clothes, bike, bottles and so on, and loaded the car again with my teammates for the next road trip. After around 4 hours, we arrived at Göttingen, where Kinnekulle is, a 150-meter high hill right at the largest lake in Sweden. It's the first race of the SWE Cup, which is the biggest competition series we have in Sweden and attracts everyone that is into road racing. Overall, we do 13 laps, which accumulate to 160 kilometers and over 2,200 height meters. For me, it was the first time doing this race, and it's pretty normal for people to get dropped in the neutral lap, something I definitely wanted to avoid. As the heaviest rider in the peloton, my goal was to just react and survive as long as possible, then try to help the other teammates maybe later in the race with bottles and fuel. Fueling wise, I started to make some changes compared to Östgötaloppet. Both bottles had 50 grams of carbs in them, and I brought 5 gels with me, which in hindsight was not quite enough. The pace was very high from the start, and I had to do 490 watts for 8 minutes to survive the neutral lap. It was quite tough because you had to really keep a good position. You can see I'm getting boxed in here, already have to move to the left side to get around the people who can't keep up the pace anymore, and I was already pretty scared at this point that I might miss the group over the top here just in the first lap. Luckily, the rest of the lap is rather easy if you manage to stay with the group over the top, as you can roll with the peloton pretty comfortably. The top favorers already attacked and tried to form a break, something that I could not compete with. I basically just had to chill in the back of the group and wait for the next climb. On climb 2 the pace was a bit easier and I only had to do 474 watts on the climb. Climb 3 was the fastest one and I had to do almost 500 watts to keep up, with a lot of people starting to go backwards. You can see me losing the group right at the top, but luckily I could use my weight and power to get back in the group without too much effort. Something you will see me doing over and over again. In lap 4 my power started to slowly drop. Only 460 watts meant a good 20 seconds slow on the climb, which opened a pretty big gap at the top. Lap 8 is where I eventually lose the group completely out of sight. 420 watts were not enough anymore. I tried to push with a good 330 watts on the flats, trying to have a good pace but also save the legs for the next climb effort. Despite some guys coming from the back and working together pretty well, we do not manage to close the gap anymore. My power dropped quite a lot at this point, doing only 380 watts on the climb, which is not enough anymore. It still was so much that I dropped everyone from my group on the climb and it left me alone chasing. On the next climb I catch the guy from Ahrweiler and we ride together for the rest of the race, with the pure goal to finish the race in a decent pace. On the last lap I noticed that my blood sugar was dropping quite a bit and I got a feeling that I might not make it. You can see the blood sugar dropping here and slightly recovering, but it instantly drops again despite me having consumed all gels at this point. I also missed to inform our guys in the feed zone about some extra gels, and the 12th lap was just miserable. I could push less than 200 watts. Sadly I don't have any footage of this anymore as the camera died, but it's like a weird feeling and hard to describe. My legs and body do not feel extremely tired or exhausted, but pushing anything above zone 1 is impossible. I assume that's a bit how it feels for other people without diabetes when they talk about bonking. Luckily it didn't really matter at this point anymore, because the race was over anyway, but it would have been nice to just not get a DNF. Overall I'm really happy though. I've seen the best power numbers I've ever produced and it gave me back some confidence that I did a lot of things right in the training over the past few weeks and months. I had my best 5-minute power with 510 watts as well as 360 normalized power for 4 hours of racing. With having a bit more fuel in the end, this might have been even higher. A lot of good lessons learned again before the next races are coming up.
I just wrapped up editing this video. It's Saturday and tomorrow we have the next edition of the SWE Cup down in Jönköping. I'm currently out here spinning the legs a bit and also checking out the second race of the Stockholm Crit Series. It's a new track which I haven't done before. Looks quite fun. One little hill and so on. A few corners. Some new asphalt as well, so that will be pretty nice. But otherwise, yeah, we had the first race of the Stockholm Crit Series this Tuesday. Sadly, I also had some issues with my camera there. Only recorded the first 10 minutes or so. I will show a bit of the footage from the first 10 minutes. Placing wise, this was my best result so far on paper. But obviously the competition there is not as wide and big as on the SWE Cup races, so always have to take that with a bit of caution. But yeah, I got 5th place. We also got 6, 7 and 8 I think. All went to Ängby, which is okay. But then on the other hand, the first 3 places went to Lucky. They did a really good job in the first 10 minutes attacking us and managing to do a 2-man bridge away from us. We slept a bit in the first 10 minutes, I think. If we would have been a bit more active and stuck to their wheels, which we've done the rest of the race, then this could have been avoided, but they also have the power and experience. In the end, I think the podium would have been definitely more than possible. We were in the sprint for it, but didn't have quite the legs, lost it by a second. That's just how it is. Looking forward to Jönköping now. It's going to be really cold and really windy, even though we're in May here. So let's see how that will affect the race. I haven't done it so far. The others raced it last year yeah, see how it plays out. Yeah, otherwise just let me know if you have some feedback like always. I will try to do a bit more of in-depth race videos. I also always upload the whole races like raw with overlay on YouTube, so you can have a look at that as well. Try to explain a bit my nutrition strategy, especially for the bigger races where it's a bit more complicated. But as you can tell maybe from the video, I'm also still trying to figure it out the best way of managing it, and yeah, it will take a bit of time and I will take you along on the journey. Thanks for watching.